Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. God has given us unlimited treasures in His Word. Every time we open it, we can discover a new treasure or admire an old one. What will we find today? Here's Carla Early with Treasure Hunt in the Word.
At the end of last year, my church started a devotional together to prepare our hearts to do some building projects. Something in the very first devotional caught my attention. It says, "Church isn't a hobby, it's a spiritual family." I remember a friend of mine years ago complaining that churches had activities every night of the week, so if she joined a church, they'd expect her to be there all the time, and she had other hobbies she'd much rather be involved in. Too often, we do treat church as a hobby, something we do on the side when it's convenient. But if we see church as a family, that's a different perspective altogether, isn't it? Most of us would do just about anything for family, but even then we have our limits. But as the devotional goes on to say, we are members of Christ's body, each with a part to play. That's what 1 Corinthians 12:27 says. Then it goes on to talk about how the Holy Spirit gives us spiritual gifts to use to make that body healthy. That's one reason why churches have so many activities. We need to use our gifts. That doesn't mean that we need to be involved in every activity, but it does mean that we need to find our gifts and ask God, how do you want me to use the gifts you've given me? How can I best serve you with them? Then go all out in that area and trust God to use other people in other areas. This may mean using your gifts for the Lord in your local church, in a parachurch organization, or even in the community in the name of the Lord. Isn't that a completely different perspective than if we think of our church as a hobby? What Paul says at the end of this section on the church as a body really intrigued me. He says, "But earnestly desire the best gifts, and yet I show you a more excellent way." What is that more excellent way? Well, for that, we've got to keep reading. But that's the end of chapter 12, and we all know what comes next. Chapter 13, the love chapter. So in the context of using our gifts in the body, the church, Paul tells us to use our gifts with love. Instead of clamoring to be first, or the most important, or to be in the spotlight, we should use our gifts with an attitude of love in our heart. So let me read you a few verses of this life-changing chapter. And as I do, remember, this is Paul speaking here, the one who God had given many incredible church-building gifts. "Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not love, I have become sounding brass or clanging cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have faith so that I could remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but have not love, it profits me nothing." So how do we go from thinking our church activities are a hobby to the work of the ministry that God has called us to? The answer is love. And listen to what love means. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself, is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. So how is God calling you to commit the gifts that He's given you to the work of your church? What part will you play in the body, in love?
You can contact us at treasurehuntintheword@gmail.com. We'd love to hear the treasures God has given you through His Word. You can listen to other episodes on our website, which you can find in the description below. Thank you for listening, and remember, where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.